Hello and welcome to another episode of the In Between Podcast. Let's go ahead and get this thing started. Hello there and welcome to another episode of the In Between Podcast with your host as always, Kyle McLemore. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you notice the attire, then you already know it's a gym pod. Gym pod. Workout pod, whatever pod you want to call it, and also achieved one of the goals of the weekend, which was to physically make it to the gym. And I had to check, like before you do the little check-in, I was like, before I check in, would it be possible to check when the last time was that I was here? And she said, yes, obviously, no problem. It's been a little while. It's been since, I remember the year, but I don't remember what she said on the month. I think she said May of 2021. That's right. Where would that put us in? 2020, like a year after the pandemic started? Water, the element which gives life. I always think about that's like a Mortal Kombat quote. Use the element which brings life. Water? Thanks, Katana. But anyway, yeah. First time at the gym since 2021. And I also was like, hey, even when I did used to come, I would come at that was when I worked night shift, so I would come at 3 or 4 in the morning when there was nobody, and there was also no access to the cool water beds or the cool, I don't know, there's a machine, you just stand there and it scans you apparently or something. Some kind of body toning scanning machine, which sounds weird and sketchy, but I'm going to jump in that tube. So I got the rundown on the benefits of the gym, and I also got to step foot in the gym as well, which is big accomplishment. I feel like the biggest step is just getting there physically. And now that we've been there physically, that's like the big hump, right? You get over the big hump and you just got to get used to being there, get used to going. Also, crowdometer, or the little whatever thing that keeps track of how many people are there, it seems to be a bit inaccurate. Or either that, or the time when I was about to leave, I checked and it's barely one blip on the crowdometer, and then I get there and it's pretty full. This is not one blip on the crowdometer, you crowdometer liar. But anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. You guys hear the big news. Speaking of fitness, speaking of hitting the gym hard, have you guys been keeping up with the fight of the century? The fight of the millennia. That's right. We've already seen Conor versus Mayweather. We've already seen the return of Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr. Are there any other big fights that happened recently? Canelo versus... It doesn't matter because he knocks the hell out of everybody. Canelo is really got some momentum going. But we finally got the fight everyone's been asking for. The fight years in the making. That's right, it's Mark Zuckerberg versus Elon Musk. The fight we've all been waiting for. The fight... Oh, I just realized. One of the lights either went out or wasn't on. But anyway, the fight of the century. Elon versus Zuck. AI versus more AI. SpaceX versus Facebook. And it's not going down in the metaverse. It's going down in the octagon. Actually, you know what? I read a news story where it was like, it's going down in the goddamn Coliseum. Apparently somebody was like, hey, if you guys want this to go down, I'll rent out the goddamn Roman Coliseum for this one. Hell yeah, let's make it old school. Just fucking pack the Coliseum with all these spectators, but you have to wear Roman robes or, what is it? Toga. You have to wear your toga robes. Make it very old school. Throw a couple lions in there too for the heck of it. But it should be interesting. I mean, I think technically I heard or read something about Zuckerberg's like trained in something, right? Like I know that I saw a story where it's like Mark Zuckerberg's got his blue belt, or I don't think it was black. I think I would have remembered black, but it was like a blue belt, which I think is pretty high on the color spectrum, in like judo or jujitsu or some other J martial arts. I can't remember which one exactly, but either way, that's like more training than I have. I'm pretty sure Mark Zuckerberg would probably flip around and get me in some kind of a headlock. And then the flip side of the coin, Elon, I mean, like, both of them both have access. I don't know, like, I doubt this is something that's really going to happen, but if it was to happen, like, I would say, like, give it a year. Like, all right, 1 year from today, we meet at the Coliseum. And then they both show up just like Mark Zuckerberg shredded like crazy. And then Elon's like, walks in all half Cybertrip. All half, I can't even talk. All half cybernetic. Hello, Mark Zuckerberg. I've spent the last year slowly transforming into partial machinery. It was like half RoboCop or like the $1 Million Man. Either way, I would watch the hell out of it. Watch a fucking ultimate nerd fight. They get all super buff, but then they still fight. Just like, stop it. Oh, no, not my face. Mark Zuckerberg he shows up with like 14 different clones of himself. You have to find the real me, Elon. Dun, 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 dun. I'd be down to watch the Ultimate Nerd Fight 2024. The Ultimate Nerd Off. He shows up and just hits him with a Tesla. But yeah, it was cool. I got to hit the gym. Also wanted to talk about, there's a few movies I saw, but the movies I've seen recently are kind of like meh. How do I review a movie that's so eh? How many times can I just sit there and be like, yeah, it's fine. It's okay. It wasn't really bad. But then you know what? It also wasn't really that great either. And the end, there's your review. But I saw a couple films. I saw No Hard Feelings and Asteroid City. I think they came out simultaneous, and they're both simultaneously meh. We'll start with No Hard Feelings? Sure. No Hard Feelings starring J-Law, Jennifer Lawrence, which was the last time I saw Jennifer Lawrence. First thing that comes to mind, obviously, Hunger Games. More Hunger Games. I was interested because it's like a romantic comedy or whatever, and when you think of Jennifer Lawrence, I don't really think comedy. I think more Mockingjay, or whatever I just think of her being dramatic. Or Silver Linings Playbook, which I never saw, but I know that she's in it. I just think of drama when I think of J-Law. So when I saw No Hard Feelings, I was actually kind of excited. I was like, all right, this would be cool to see her in a different genre than I'm used to. And it's fine. It's, meh. Romantic comedy, meh. Basically what you would expect. The kid is good. The kid in it who's like legit 19 or whatever, he's legit good. The kid's got talent. Gonna be seeing more of that kid later on for sure. You know what's interesting is that there's a song heavily featured in the movie Man-Eater by Hall & Oates. Hall & Oates, I'm pretty sure. Almost positive it's Hall & Oates. Well, there she goes. She's a man-eater. Good song, catchy. And it's got to be interesting because it's heavily featured in the movie. They play it like 3 times. So it's like you can't help, like myself, you can't help but be like, oh, yeah, it's a catchy song. I think I'll download it on Spotify. And so you have to assume that I'm not the only one doing that. There's got to be like 1,000 other people that are like, well, let me download it on Spotify. So you got to imagine Hall & Oates just chilling at their Hall & Oates home and just being like, why is Man-Eater suddenly spiking off the charts? What the? Oh, it's because we licensed it to that movie. I guess it's doing good. It reminds me of, you guys remember when Stranger Things was really at the peak of Stranger Things, the last season or whatever, and they had that song that was also heavily featured, and I had also never heard this song before Stranger Things. Running up the hill, running up my booty, don't know the lyrics. Running up the hill, I'm biddly boo. Whatever the song was, it took off like a rocket, and I remember reading articles about like when it was first released, it did like, not that great. It was kind of a sleeper. And then just imagine being that lady who, I don't know her name because obviously she wasn't that famous at the time. So it's like kind of a sleeper hit, kind of like your music career is very low key. And then all of a sudden, 30 years later, there's a random Netflix show running up there, and all of a sudden that song is like blasted across TikTok and Instagram and just like social media in general, and downloads shoot up to like the billions. So it's got to be so crazy to be that lady and just wake up and being like, huh? All of a sudden I'm number 1 in the world? Like, what the fuck? Running up the hill, running up that money to my bank account. I don't know, but it's got to be very interesting. I had that same thought with, whoa, there she goes. She's a man-eater. Watch out, boy, she'll chew you up. It's good. And then the other one was Asteroid. Oh, but I didn't finish talking about No Hard Feelings. The most shocking part, and it was also similar. I never thought I'd have a similar jumping point from No Hard Feelings to the Wes Anderson film Asteroid City, but they have 2 strikingly similar scenes that both completely caught me off guard and completely like, what's happening right now? Like, what? I was so like unexpectedly shocked by what I saw in the theater. Starting with No Hard Feelings, I mean, obviously Jennifer Lawrence, and then there's like a scene where she's like, oh my god, let's go skinny dipping, and then like these people come up and like steal their clothes, and she's just like, what the fuck, and like runs after them. And I mean, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen No Hard Feelings, spoiler alert, because I feel like the shock value of what I'm about to tell you is what makes the scene work. So if you know what's coming, it's going to take away a lot. So spoiler alert, go see it, come back. 3, 2, 1. But she is butt-ass naked, head to toe. She just comes storming out of the beach like completely full frontal, and I was just like, whoa! I did not expect to see full-on bush from Jennifer Lawrence. And then she's like suplexing these dudes like... She's fucking hitting them with the John Cena. She's hitting them with the rock bottom. Like all these like crazy WWE moves. While also being like completely naked. I was just like, whoa. Never ever thought I would see Jennifer Lawrence just going full frontal on this like meh comedy movie. But she went for it, and good for her. I was just so like, whoa. And then I go to see Asteroid City, and it was like the same exact thing, only it felt more surreal because I'm like the only person in the whole theater. Like, it was me, and I think there was like one guy way at the top. But basically, theater to myself, and I'm just sitting there. Asteroid City, again, it's meh. It's fine. I mean, if you're into Wes Anderson films, I'm sure you'll love it. Visually, it is intriguing. Visually, it is striking and colorful and vibrant. And the movie itself is interesting, right? It's worth watching at least once because the narrative is so interestingly complicated. The narrative like follows the story of Asteroid City, but then also there's like another breaking of the fourth wall, and it's like we get like a behind the scenes of the making of Asteroid City, sort of. It's difficult to explain, but it is intriguing. But the part that was like mind-blowingly shocking, like I thought I was being Ashton Kutchered. I thought I was being straight up punked, dude, because similar to No Hard Feelings, there's a scene where out of the blue, Scarlett Jo is just like, oh, I'm naked. And I'm just like, whoa. I'm sitting there and she just like drops the towel. I'm on the fence because I don't know. I don't know if it was her or not. Like, because they had her cut off at the head, so it's like you see neck down and you're just like, whoa! Extreme frontal nudity that I did not expect to ever see in my lifetime. I just assumed Scarlett Johansson would be someone I would never see naked. So when the towel drops, it's just like, whoa, yelling at the guy up at the top, dude, did you see that? And he's just like, yeah, that shit's wild. What the hell? If I had known, I would have sat closer. For real, get down here, bro. But anyway, yeah, and then like I was, because you know your boy's going on IMDb anytime I watch a movie. Doesn't matter if I'm watching The Lion King or any other, if it doesn't matter if it's a movie I've seen a bajillion times, I cannot help but dive onto IMDb straight to the trivia section. And there was a whole thing about like Scarlett Johansson's like, yeah, I felt very comfortable during my nude scene. And I'm just like, so that was really her? Like, what the fuck? What? Never thought. It's like the same vibe, too. It's like, I never thought I'd see J-Law just be like, yeah, I'll be like completely naked for this kind of low-end comedy that probably won't do that well. Same thing with Scarlett Jo, where she's like, yeah, I'm down to get butt-ass naked for this Wes Anderson film that's probably going to go under the radar and not be seen that much. Maybe that's why. Maybe they're both like pretty confident, like, man, no one's going to probably see this. But either way, very movies with two very like, whoa moments of just like really shocking. Not that I'm like mad about it. Not that I'm like, oh, how dare they throw those titties in my face. It was just two actresses that I never imagined being able to see nude on cinema, nude in film. I mean, I think, wasn't J-Law one of the like heavily featured people that were like hit by the fappening or whatever that thing was, where like every celebrity nude got like released from the cloud or whatever? I think Jennifer Lawrence was front and center in that battle or whatever. But yeah, very interesting. Running up that hill, going to the blah blue. And then we did talk about other stuff. I was going to talk about Indiana Jones. That's another one. Indiana Jones, man. It's a tough one to review because it's meh, and it's also, it's not even meh. It's bad. It's not good. Not a good movie. And, you know, I actually got, like, physically depressed. I got, like, really bummed out, like, halfway through that movie. So much so that I wasn't even watching the movie. I was like you ever like stare at something and like your eyes unfocused? Like I was staring at the screen but not really seeing the screen and just in my own head about like, wow, I feel so down right now because this movie is bumming me out, dude. Like it sucks seeing something that I love so much like Indiana Jones and just having it be so terrible. It's so bad, dude. The CGI is interesting because that's like the big thing, right? That was like the big selling thing. Is like, oh, it's super young Harrison Ford. They gave him the Disney de-age whatever thing, the AI simulating young Harrison Ford, and like it looks okay. And then I think they knew that it looks okay because anytime he's in young-ish mode, it's like kind of dark and it's only lit by like flashlights, so it's like you can see, but then not really. But you know what really throws it out the window? It's like I'm trying to play along. I'm like, okay, all right. Does it look 100% good? No, but these are the times we're in, right? This is as best they could do. So, okay, I'll try to ride along with you, but it has this weird thing, and they do the same thing. I think that's why I couldn't get into The Irishman, the Scorsese, De Niro. Like, I couldn't get into it because they keep having, like, an entire huge chunk of that movie is young Robert De Niro, but it's not young Robert De Niro. It's old Robert De Niro who's like 90, pretending to be 24 or whatever. So it just doesn't work, dude. There's a part where like Robert De Niro's like beating some dude up like when he's in his young form, but the way he's doing it is that you can tell it's old. He's like like beating him up, but in a way that like a 90-year-old man would beat somebody up. So you're looking at like, okay, he looks like he's 20, but why is he moving around like a 90-year-old? It looks weird as hell. And it's kind of the same thing with Indiana Jones, dude. It's like, okay, he looks kind of young, but why does his voice sound so gravelly and old and exactly like how it is in today's time? Like, he looks like old, like young, prime time Harrison Ford, but his voice is so fucking old man and gravelly that it completely throws it off. It's just like, oh, he looks young, and yet he sounds like 1,000 years old. He sounds just like, hey, what's going on? I'm the young Indiana Jones here. Like, so old man voice on this young man face that it just completely throws it off, dude. And then there's like a 20-minute scooter chase. There's like a 45-minute scooter chase where they're just like tearing through, I don't know, Morocco or like Italy or somewhere. They're just tearing through the streets of this city on these little scooters, which is fine, which looks okay. Anytime it's outside of the scooter, yeah, they have great sense of like speed and urgency. But when they're in the cabin, when they're in the frame of like, it's me, I'm driving the scooter, it looks so I'll do it right here. I'll do it right here. Ready? This is an exact simulation of what it looks like in the 2023 Indiana Jones film. Ready? Here we go. Boy, these roads are bumpy. Whoa, look how fast we're driving. Like that. The entire background is just this really terrible, obvious CGI green screen. And it just like, it's such a long chase and you can't help but notice how terrible it looks. And it's just like, dude, terrible CGI. And then, like, okay, so spoilers, dude. Spoilers on Indy. If you haven't seen it, spoiler. This one's a heavy one. But, I mean, we can all agree, right? We can all agree that nobody liked Shia LaBeouf and Crystal Skull, right? We can all agree that character was whack and it was, like, written weird. And it's just, like, this weird, doesn't fit, doesn't work. Nobody likes it, right? Having said that, that doesn't give them the right to do what they did, dude. They, spoiler again, spoiler, they just straight up murder Shia LaBeouf off camera, not even in this movie, dude. It is such a write-off, such a screw you, dude. Such a, like, lazy and just like, I don't even want to deal with it kind of a move, dude. They murder him off screen. First, it's like there's like a letter. Like I didn't even get it the first time. There's like a letter, and like I'm trying to read it, and then like it goes away, and I'm just like, he's all sad. I'm like, all right, what was that letter about? And then later he's like, yeah, he went to war and he died. And I'm just like, oh my God, dude, you're not even gonna have him. Like, okay, I get it if you're not gonna have him in the movie. That's fine. Have him be on another adventure, dude. Have him be in the war and still alive. Have him doing anything. You could have done anything but to murder the man's son, dude. You kill the son, so it's like he is not only sad Indiana Jones, but he's like horribly guilty Anna Jones for like guilty Anna Jones for murdering his son basically and like letting him go off to war. And now my wife hates me and like my relationship with Marianne or whatever is terrible and like it's just such a like what is going on, dude? Like I don't know. I'm telling you, I got like heavy bummed out like halfway through that movie, dude. And then, oh my God, dude. And then, did I say spoiler? Because I'm going to keep spoiling this terrible movie. And then, they go back in time, dude. Oh no, they go back in time. Oh no. It's so bad. They go back. That's not even the bad part. It's like, okay, fine, dude. Let's go back in time. Okay, fine. The part that's insane is that they go back in time, back to like Roman times or something, dude. Back to where there's just ships with sails, bro. Ships with sails and catapults. That's what we're fighting. And they're flying in on this old World War II bomber plane, dude. And like immediately, like before they're even fully comprehending that they've time traveled, they're like, are those sailboats? And before they even finish the word sailboats, these Nazis are just like, fucking unloading on this like Roman army. It makes like no, it's just like, what? Why are you opening fire, dude? They're like firing their catapults at the plane, but it's like, okay, just pull up a little bit, and you're good. But no, these Nazis are like, what? Did we just time travel? Open fire! Like, dude, it just was just like, what is happening? Oh man, I could talk a lot about the stuff I don't like in that movie because there was a lot of it. There was a lot. But there was other stuff I wanted to talk about, but I don't know how much time I have left. I wanted to talk about Black Mirror. It's been a while since I've seen Black Mirror. And I got really behind on Black Mirror. Because like Black Mirror came out and it's like, oh, this is cool. Oh, it's like a more messed up Twilight Zone kind of show. But then it's like, other shows come out, and before you know it, it's like Black Mirror Season 5, and it's like, oh, man, I've got some catching up to do. But it's difficult because Black Mirror isn't like a show that I consider to be like bingeable, because the show, as like generally speaking, it's kind of a bummer of a show. Every show ends on a downer. Every episode ends on like, and the world is over. And the world is destroyed. And the apocalypse ended up happening. So it's like, I can't binge it. Otherwise, I'm going to be so bummed out on like the futility of like the future or whatever. So I think I was like, all right, let me watch some old ones. And I was like, all right, I've seen that one. Okay, I kind of remember. But then I was like, you know what, screw it. I'm just going to jump to the new season because I saw Salma Hayek. And Salma Hayek is like my number numero uno crush since day one, dude. Since Desperado, I have never stopped loving Salma Hayek. I fell in love the first time I saw that movie, and it has been love at first sight ever since. And the fact that she looks exactly the same as when she did in 1990 whatever 4, the fact that she hasn't changed at all is kind of spooky a little bit, but I was like, all right, Salma, I'll do it for you. And I don't know, man, the vibe of it is just like, I don't like it, man. Like, I don't like when stuff goes all up its own asshole. Like, Netflix, like, the episode is like, oh, like, Netflix is making a show about my life. Oh, it's so meta. It's so, like, up its own ass, dude. Like, man, it's like, instead of Netflix, it's Streamberry, but it still has, like, the ba-dam noise, and then it's like, hey, let's see what's on Streamberry, and it has all the Netflix shows that we know, and it's like, okay, Netflix, chill. And it's like, Streamberry, the biggest, most popular streaming series ever. And it's like, okay, Netflix, we get it. You're referencing yourself. Okay. I don't know, just something about it just gets all up in its own ass. Like, what comes to mind is like, okay, nobody loves Stephen King more than this dude. Nobody, all right? I love Stephen King. But you know what is like, there was a moment where I was just like, no, Steven, what are you doing? And it's during the Dark Tower series, dude. I went heavy on the Dark Tower, which is like 8 or 9 books, and they're thick as hell, and they go bonkers, dude. It is just like Stephen King to the max, dude. It is like, he's very well known for like referencing his other books. You get like nice little treats here where like you'll be reading Green Mile, and then all of a sudden they're like, hey, you hear about that dog that got rabies and attacked that lady? And it's like, what? Cujo reference? What? Dope as hell. That's fine. Little references, little nuggets, that's fine. But there's a part in the Dark Tower series where Stephen King straight up puts himself in the story. Like there's a moment where like, we gotta find the architect of the story. And then they find Stephen King, and they're like, it's you. You're the greatest writer ever. And then it's like, are you really writing about yourself inside your book, being the greatest? Like, it was such a spiral of, like, up his own ass, and it's just like, Stephen King, no. Or did you guys ever see that Steven Spielberg movie, The Fableman? Steven Spielberg made this movie, like, about himself, which is fine on the one hand. It's like it's an okay movie because obviously it's a Steven Spielberg film, so it's like you'd have to really blindfold and handcuff Steven Spielberg to have him make a bad movie. Like, this basically, at this point in the man's career, he knows how to make a good movie. So The Fableman is like a generally speaking good film. But where I depart from it is like where it starts to go up Steven Spielberg's own ass, or when he starts to like blow himself. Because there's a part where it's like, I don't know, this weird vibe of like, man, look at me, I was young, I was making movies. Yeah, there was a guy who kind of bullied me, but I befriended him by putting him in my movie and showing him how great my movies are. And then we became friends, like. It just like starts turning, dude. It starts being this thing where it's like, do you remember that like there was like a Chappelle show where like they were making fun of like the Denzel Washington movie directed by Denzel Washington? Like, there's no way you don't make it more amazing for yourself. Like that they pull out the baby and he has like a 9-foot dick already. It's like that's how it is with the Steven Spielberg movie. It's like, look how awesome I was instantly at making movies, and how I only got better, and how I made all these like people who didn't like me, they ended up being my BFFs because of how awesome my movies are. And it's like, all right, this would be fine if it was directed by anyone else but you, dude. Why are you blowing yourself so hard? It makes it hard to enjoy when I know it's just you going like, yeah, look how fucking cool I am, dude. I don't know. It just gives me this weird. You're making a movie about your own life, directed and written by you. Like, the fuck, dude? Out of here, it's Steven Spielberg, who I love, by the way, and I will never stop loving. But yeah, thank you so much. That'll do. We can wrap it and tap it there. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have you not hit that like and subscribe button? Because it's right there. And I don't know if you noticed, but I'm purposely holding back to the last minute here to tell you, because hopefully it's not bugging the hell out of you, but it does help when you like and subscribe. Or maybe you don't like watching the pod. Maybe you want to listen. Hit it up on Spotify. Hit it up on Apple, iTunes, whatever. Wherever you get your podcast is where you'll find this one. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am your host, as always, Kyle McLemore, and we'll see you next time on the pod.